Yeah! What is up, everybody? We got our brain meeting. It is time for the Sixers to sweep the freaking Washington Wizards tonight in Game 4. Joining me today, I've got Jason, I've got Justin. We're going to discuss our kind of main lessons, main things we have learned through 3 games. We're going to talk about our top takeaways, not top takeaways. We're going to talk about our top keys to success for the Sixers in Game 4, and we're also going to give some predictions. Make sure, first of all, let's introduce the man, the myth, the legend. He is Jason Blevins. Follow him on Twitter at JBlevinsNBA. Jason, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome. I'm home, which is great. So what could be better? What could be better? I'm here with my 2 guys. This is awesome. I miss all this.
Let's go. Let's go, baby. Also joining us is, you know him, Justin, on Twitter at J_Persichetti. Justin, what's going on, bro? Oh, you're muted, man.
Sorry that my dog was barking, so I muted myself quick. No, I'm just excited, honestly, for this game to really just end the series. That's what I'm really hoping for. I'm excited to see the Sixers come out strong, excited to see Embiid eat against Daniel Gaffer, who's been inserted into the starting lineup for tonight. So it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what the Washington Wizards try to bring out to stop this team.
All right,
I'm hearing an echo, by the way.
Now you're super excited for that. However, do you realize that with a win tonight, sweep is awesome. No Sixers basketball for a week if that happens.
Yeah, I have thought about that. And here's the other thing, too. We don't even have the Phillies to fall back on to have fun with watching Philly sports right now. So I have thought about that.
Today, and not great.
I don't care about it, to be honest. Like you look at the way the makeup of this roster. You look at the mindset. You look at the coaching staff, top to bottom. This team gets prepared. This team gets ready. I'm not worried about a week off. I want Joel Embiid to rest. You look at he hasn't even hit 30 minutes in a single game this entire playoff series. That's what it means. That's the biggest thing is health. The Sixers need to stay healthy heading into the next series. I'm good for a week off. But let's talk about things we have learned from games 1 through 3 so far. Jason, lead us off, man. What's the biggest takeaway?
Too many weapons, too many tools, too many looks. Doc just talked about it in his pregame about their ability to force cross matching to create open looks for guys. Ben talked the other night about he really very clearly understands his personnel that he has to work with as the point guard. And it's just at a level where he knows exactly when and where they want the ball. And they're in full command. And it should be. It's a 1-8 matchup. But they just feel like a complete version of themselves, more so than really at any point that I've seen in recent past.
Yeah. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, something that I've learned in this series more than anything is that, and it kind of scared me, especially if we were making it to the finals and if the Lakers were in the finals, is a team that runs the floor a lot. And the Wizards, I think coming into the series, had the best rating when it came to the pace of their team. And that scared me a bit because obviously this season the Sixers have had a hard time with their transition defense, and Russell Westbrook can kill you like that. So I think what I've learned is that the Sixers are very capable of guarding against a team who is good in transition like this team. So I'm really happy to see that. I've also learned that Ben Simmons, although free throws, he has not made a single free throw so far in this playoff postseason time. I've learned that how valuable he is. And obviously we've seen that all year, but just how valuable he is to pushing the pace, getting 3-point shooters open, and just letting his boys eat, honestly.
I just want to piggyback off of Ben Simmons. And that's been kind of he's been the single biggest divisive topic this entire season. And you're right. You look at his offensive rating, 130. You look at his defensive rating, 106. He's held Bradley Beal to absolutely just 15 points in 73 possessions, nothing from the field, nothing from 3-point range. That's been like the true key. Seth Curry, Danny Green lighting it up in the catch and shoot from 3. The Wizards can't hit a single damn thing. But Ben Simmons is the engine. It doesn't take a genius to look back at that Celtics series where they got swept. You look at this series, they're 3-0. Ben Simmons, as good as Joel Embiid is, Ben Simmons is probably like just a half notch right under Joel Embiid in terms of being that engine of this team. And he's doing it in every single way. Even the game where he had 6 points, the dude was a 120 offensive rating and a defensive rating of 95.6. People are looking at the wrong things. They're not watching the game. And I've just been so impressed with Ben Simmons top to bottom. But really, for me, what my main takeaway is Doc Rivers and this coaching staff. I've been blown away how many times you nailed it, Justin. One of the top offensive teams in the league, one of the top teams in the league in transition scoring. The Sixers have done an amazing job at withholding that and really coming out the gate and setting the tone, led by Ben Simmons. We saw that in Game 2. We saw it by the whole team in Game 3. 109 points for the first 3 quarters. This team has a different mindset. This team is all business. And this is something like, how many times during the regular season did we see, especially I'm going back to Brett Brown, where, a game that they should win is against a team that they should probably blow away. It's a tough game or they lose. I love the mindset you see from Doc Rivers. We've seen this all season long. And I want to go back to, when, Daryl Morey didn't make the move for James Harden. Daryl Morey didn't make that, maybe sexy trade during the trade deadline. Daryl Morey saw what this starting lineup was capable of. Daryl Morey saw Seth Curry, Danny Green, they're combined shooting of 8 of 15 from 3 in the catch and shoot. They're just absolutely tearing it up. And this team has an identity. Every player on this team knows their role. This team has an identity, and that means something, especially when you go up against a juggernaut like some of these teams, especially in that Eastern Conference final. So I love that I'm seeing a true identity. The bread and butter is defense. Matisse Thybulle, Ben Simmons are locking the hell down with Bradley Beal. There's a lot to love. And my other main takeaway, I just want to say, Sixers fans really, truly need to appreciate what they're watching. I know it's just the first series, but we're truly witnessing greatness from Joel Embiid. We're truly witnessing Ben Simmons take the next step in the playoffs. There's a lot to love. There's a lot of hate going on social media, which is bananas. But what every single Sixers fan should feel right now is happiness and enjoy it. Enjoy it all, Sixers and Philadelphia. Let's go into confidence levels going into Game 4.
Hold on? All right. I don't see the hate. But I do want to say that there must be some oxygen in between. Ben Simmons is fantastically valuable, and Ben Simmons is worthless. There has to be we expect Ben Simmons to get to be a 70% free throw shooter and also want to get to the line. Sure. Because it will eventually be the type of thing that will determine their ultimate upside. If there are people on social media or sports radio that are saying that he's a bad NBA player, I don't see that. I personally don't see it. All I ever see is the backlash of people talking to this phantom fan that I never see the quote tweet where there was a critique. So maybe I'm just not seeing it. But I would let me just say that it's Danny Green talked the other night after the game about how teams will build a wall, and we talked about it all season. Teams will build a wall, and knowing how to play off of that and give Ben outlets is crucial. But that is a real thing, and there are the championship level teams will punish you for whatever decision you make on the floor. And it's just one of those areas that is still outstanding that the Wizards and their undisciplined play will not highlight. And I just don't want to get too worked up about it. Either way.
Just
Yeah, the thing I wanted to say, like regarding the wall they build, and then what that creates, and what Ben Simmons has been good at in this series and pretty much all season, I would say. Besides maybe the beginning of the season when he was having a lot of the turnover problems, but the thing that you see, and a lot of it has to do with roster construction, is the fact that they do have Seth Curry and Danny Green and Tobias Harris now at the 4 on the outside, where when they build that wall in transition, he's able to have those shooters who are even more open now because of them trying to build that wall around the paint to stop him from getting inside and getting that high percentage look. Now you have 2 above 40% shooters, actually really 3, Tobias included, that can either hit a trailing 3 or get open in the corners or at the the hash mark, just to get an easy look. And you've been seeing that a lot this series. I think some of that, like Jason was saying, has to do with the not very good defensive play from the Wizards when it comes to really getting up on those 3-point shooters. But when you have such a big threat in Joel, who's been getting down to the block early in the shot clock, and Ben Simmons running it down your throat, it's kind of hard to get to those open 3-point shooters when they've been getting so many high percentage looks on the inside.
Yeah, all I ask is that people on both sides allow for the nuggets of truth that exist on both sides.
Oh, definitely.
And everybody
this right here needs to make free throws, otherwise great. That's how I see it.
He's great, and also he needs to want to go to the line, and he needs to make 70% of them.
Yep.
And if he does those two things, this team just becomes a virtually impossible matchup for most teams in the NBA. You know, and when you talk about the Nets, they're flawed in all of the ways that we'll find out if it matters or not. But the one area that they're not flawed in is play us however you want, make all the decisions you want to make, take away the couple of things that you want. We're gonna kill you whichever way you leave open.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it, right? And it just becomes a question of can they keep a game close enough to get themselves to the last 2 minutes 4 times out of 7. That's all that really is. It's okay to say that that's the only remaining question mark with this team is can they punish teams no matter what decisions they make? And I just think people on both ends need to acknowledge the points that others are making.
And to be fair, like this channel, we across the board do that. That's one of the big things that I'm really proud about this channel is we call Ben out when it's required. We haven't really, I don't think we've touched on it that much, Justin, the free throws. Because
it's been hard to because of all the other good stuff that's been going on.
So many positives that we see across the board: the spacing, the flow, the offense, the efficiency. But hold on, I want to represent. I want to get to some comments here before we move on. We've got the UK joining. I want to find this comment here. We've got Hari joining, saying, "Love from the UK, guys. What is happening, man? Let's go,
Hari.
That's
Let us
awesome.
know where in the UK. It's very broad, very general. I want to know where. You don't have to give us your street address. We're not going to dox you. Just a vague, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Birmingham, London.
Speaking of people from Europe, from around Europe, though, the guy that went to college with me, Dustin Slava, who plays over in France, just had his career high, scored 31 points.
Wow.
On I think it was he shot like 90% from three. Like he had like an insane game. He's their power forward. He's 6'8", and he shot like, oh my god, I gotta look at it again before I keep talking about it. But I looked at some of the highlights. Ridiculous.
Let's get some comments. RJ says, I think the disrespect is from the media. They keep counting us out. Dude, I get alerts on this YouTube channel all the time.
Which media? Which media? Who is this media?
Yeah, because I don't see
I'm
any
in these press
media
conferences. I don't know who this media is.
Yeah, well, I get the alerts. We're saying if Ben Simmons doesn't get a jumper, the Sixers are not getting to the NBA Finals.
So Howard Eskin comes in and throws in his little weird comments. Everyone knows
nobody cares what he says. Yeah, nobody cares what he says anymore.
Right? Nobody cares what he says. It just becomes like this weird, like cherry-picked one guy who you know, no longer matters. Has a very specific shtick.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it reverberates into like a fountain of clapbacks and dunks.
Well, I
don't get it.
I know. So
first take.
I don't know.
First take is there just to keep you.
There is 100%
turning the channel in between commercials.
Jason, and I'm not going to name names here, but there is 100% a small minority, a lot of YouTube that are anti Ben Simmons, and that's the reality. That there's just that. RJ,
I think it's okay to say, like, it is okay to critique Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, you can be critical of every player in the NBA. Hell, I would say the only player that's hard to be critical on right now on the Sixers is Joel Embiid, because there seems to be no flaws to his game right now. When it comes to defense and offense, he's everywhere on the floor. You can't even critique his 3-point shot anymore because he makes it at damn near 40% rate. Like, but Ben Simmons, you can be critical of him, but you also have to sit there and look at the positives that he does for this team. And the hard thing about Ben Simmons is that because the positive aspects of his game don't always show up in the box score, it's tough for people like the common fan to look at that and see a guy who's being productive for his team. What you need to see is all of his teammates. And generally, if you watch the game and you know basketball, you see what he's doing out there.
Ben Simmons is a plus 63, 130 offensive rating, 106 defensive rating through 3 games. And he's held Bradley Beal to 15 points and 1 of 7 from 3. I know he's not the best 3-point shooter, but Ben Simmons is doing 100% his job. I know the free throws suck, but I want to say Ari is from South London, guys. We've been doing this for a while. I don't know how many UK guys we've had join our chat. I just want to say thank you for
thank you. We're used to France and
Turkey,
obviously. You know,
we've got a lot of Australia. We've got a lot of Australia.
I'm trying to click Australia. There you go.
There it is.
Ari, tell your friends in South London, London proper, North London, all the way to Liverpool. Tell your friends we're here for you.
We have Rich saying, hey, fellas, looks like we're getting traction. Keep it up. Thank you. We have Michael saying Ben needs to make his free throws and be more aggressive. Other than that, he's been exceptional. He's the Swiss Army knife and adapts to what the squad needs him around him that night. That's like the main That's it.
He just Michael, you just basically laid out the facts. That's exactly right. He's the queen of the chessboard for this team. He is the Swiss Army knife for this team.
But he gets criticized when Tobias and Joel Embiid are going off, and he gets criticized for only putting up 6 points. You know, that's the reality.
Yeah, but it's you shouldn't. It's not the right time to do it, right? My issue never has been really his free throw percentage. Honestly, it's really about how many fouls are you hanging, Nadir, my man. How many fouls are you hanging on the interior defenders of the other team early in the game? And that is hugely important for how a team can play your entire squad defensively. It's going to create pressure They're going to have to soften the way that they play Joel Embiid up. The way that they double will change. If you can hang fouls on their wings, on their bigs early in a game, it changes the way the opponent defends. It really cannot be about how many you make and how many you miss at the line. It's all about, can you soften the interior of that defense to make everything else easier throughout the rest of the game?
And I feel
that's
like
what it's about.
I feel like the thing is Ben Simmons, although he is capable of doing that, I do think he is genuinely capable.
Slovakia.
Wow, let's go. Man,
Yes.
We've got UK and Slovakia joining
All
our
right.
party here, man. Thank you. Thank you for joining, man. That is great. I'm so excited.
Yes, we know Americans tend to only think about America, but I do know where Slovakia is.
That's awesome.
Real quick with what I was saying though, I do feel like Ben Simmons is capable of going in the post, capable of drawing fouls more frequently. I think a lot of the opportunity for that gets taken away because of how many opportunities Joel gets posted up. If that makes sense.
It does. I think where his job and he's the reverse of Allen Iverson in many ways, but he's also the same. Easy like Sunday morning. That was yesterday, Danny. Ben is the reverse in many ways of Allen Iverson, and the same as Allen Iverson in one respect. Both guys, every trip down the floor, make the right play, put the ball in the right person's hands. Allen Iverson just happened to believe, correctly so, that the best shot on the team always came from Allen Iverson, right?
Which was true at the time.
Which was true. And with Ben, he thinks the same way. Every trip down the floor, I'm going to get the ball in. I'm going to get us the best shot possible every trip down the floor.
Which is what you want.
Which is usually not him.
Yeah.
Which is what you want from a point guard. Absolutely. However, again, it's like the NFL where you run early to open the pass late. You wear that interior down, and it creates easier plays later in the game. And that's just where I want him to play. Want him to get to.
And we've seen that in games 2 and 3. We have seen that in games 2 and 3. I fully agree, Jason. Like, we saw way too many bunnies given up by Ben Simmons in game 1. You saw that hesitation. You saw him try, way too much to get others involved, especially within 15 feet. But I think we've seen in games 2 and 3, especially Doc is trying to get him to attack Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal in the paint. And that has been a true success for him so far, at least the last 2 games so far here. So this is my favorite comment. I love how everyone's going, Slovakia, UK. And then my man Danny Green goes, New Jersey.
New Jersey in the house.
Yo, a quick reminder, drop a like on this pregame video, please. If you guys want us to do more pregame videos, drop some likes, put some comments down below when the video ends so we know that you guys want this kind of stuff.
All right, let's go 0 out of 10. What is your confidence level that the Sixers get the sweep tonight? Let's start off with Justin. Where are you at out of that 0 to 10?
Honestly, my confidence is pretty high. I mean, basically every game besides game 1 has been a blowout, or has been a game that felt like it was a handily won win. I mean, the starters have barely played in the fourth quarter this whole series. I think Tobias was the only starter to play in any bit of the fourth quarter in game 3. So my confidence level is pretty high. I'm going to go with 9.8.
What about you, Jason?
Oh, gosh. I would say that the Wizards' best chance to steal a game and to make this a series was last game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go 9.8, but I would say, 8.5, which is pretty
wow, that's pretty low, I think. That's
for me, though.
After winning by 30 last game?
I think the Wizards have pulled all of their cards. And tried everything. Gafford will start tonight. Gafford has looked good at times, but he's up there.
Yeah, because
he's got a real problem with Embiid. They've tried to have him exploit non-Embiid minutes early in the season, but Yeah, I think it's 8.5.
Snap. I love it.
Robert California says, I bet some guy at work $50 that the Sixers will win a chip, so my confidence is at 10. Listen, man, I hope
Robert California would never pay that bet if he lost. He would just move on to the next town.
Oh man.
Did we ever find out who Robert California actually was?
Gosh, I just want to say I'm just ecstatic that we have Australia, Slovakia, the UK, Turkey, all chilling with us right now as we get ready for the Sixers versus Wizards game 4. I'm a 10. The Sixers are gonna. It was.
Wait, hold on. You got to show me a physical representation of why you think it's a 10. I need to see why.
A physical rep. What does that mean?
You just holding the broom, Dodge.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. You just had the broom in the hand. I thought it was handy.
The brooms are coming out tonight. You saw in games 2 and 3. The chances that the Wizards had in this series was in that first half, games 2 and 3, and the Sixers punched them in the face. The Sixers
this tells me that Yams is definitely. Hold on. Yams is definitely Vin Fosh.
You've been on that train for a long time.
I know, but look, Vin was born in West Philly.
You know how many people were born in West Philly?
Look, I'm just putting all the puzzle pieces together.
All right. My response, I just want to say 10 out of 10, the Sixers are sweeping tonight. You've seen the Sixers respond from the jump these last 2 games, and they're the best defensive team in the NBA when it comes to the second half. We have Michael saying 10, we just have too much firepower and too much depth. They'll hang on a little longer out of pride, but we'll cruise in the second half. You got to talk about the offense, right? Because we know the bread and butter of the Sixers is defense. The efficiency, the offensive rating of the Sixers here through the first 3 games, it's been 122.7, 120.7, and 130.6. This team is clicking on all cylinders. They're shooting 41+% from 3. Anybody have any takes on this offense, which has, I think, been actually a bit more of a surprise here than the defense? Anybody want to talk about that?
Do you want to talk about the offense? Sorry, I'm doing 3 things at once right now. What did you say?
Anybody have a take on this Sixers offense, which is kind of reminiscent of the pre-COVID Sixers a little bit?
Yeah.
They're getting open shots. The ball movement has been great, and it kind of got a little stagnant there the last 2 months of the season, I think. And you see guys just getting open shots, getting looks. The ball, that's what I've been seeing through 3 games here. Like I said, the offensive rating for the Sixers has been better than I expected. The defensive rating here through 3 games. Anybody have any take on this Doc Rivers offense in the playoffs?
Shot quality is amazing. Make or miss, the shot quality is outstanding.
This was my thing right here. I honestly, like Petronas said, Wizards are a horrible defensive team. That my biggest thing is they just don't have the guys to be able to guard the Sixers players. They really don't. I mean, they have the one thing that they had coming into this series that I thought might give us a little bit of trouble was the amount of centers that were capable of playing in the NBA that could maybe take fouls from Embiid and get him tired. But that hasn't shown to prove anything because Embiid's just ate up Brook. He's eaten up Daniel Gafford. When they've put Alex Len in there, he's eaten him up as well. They just haven't really had any luck down there. And if you can't stop Embiid and then you have to start throwing double teams and triple teams at him, then you're leaving 40%, 40+% three-point shooters open, and they're just getting high-quality looks at that point. Think about it, the last 2 games, the Sixers are shooting above 50% from the field and damn near both above 40% from 3 as well. So it's hard to stop a team like that in general, especially the Sixers, who are as big and as physical as they are.
I want to touch on this comment by Yams. The Wizards are just horrible. And this is really all about Bradley Beal. And you look at Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle, who are holding Bradley Beal to 10 of 36 from the field, 1 of 14 from 3. Matisse Thybulle is holding the Wizards to 3 of 19 from the field, 0 of 7 from three-point range. This is kind of that. Does anybody have the same kind of vibes with the Bucks? because the Sixers have that ability to kind of just lock it down on one player and let everyone else do the rest. I mean, you have Giannis with the Bucks. That's kind of been – I know they struggled against the Bucks last year, but teams that have like that one guy that can light it up, the Sixers – is this a bad take? Is that they've generally –
No, it's a great take. I think the those are exactly the teams that
Yo,
you can never have too many crock pots, by the way.
Bro, that's amazing.
There's no such thing.
Message me on Twitter. We'll talk recipes.
That's so good.
I think because Ben Simmons is so versatile on the defensive end, and they have a couple of other guys that can mix in looks. If you walk into a series against the Sixers with one or two weapons, they're just going to take those weapons away from you, and they're going to take them away from you at a time of their choosing, not yours. So, yeah, it's tough, and that's why I like them in any series with the Bucks. Right? You have to hope the Bucks, who the Nets may not be able to stop Giannis. Like, he might just go for 50, 18, and 18 every night. It legitimately could happen. They don't really have an answer for him. But the Sixers certainly do have multiple ways to make Giannis and his life difficult.
And that was something that you saw from the jump from game one. You saw I have that vivid memory of Bradley Beal at the free throw line, third quarter. Matisse Thybulle is chasing him all over the court, and you have the fans like giving him an ovation every time it's Matisse versus Bradley Beal. The Nets don't have that. The Nets don't have that kind of defensive firepower to just throw guys in every single time and rotate guys. Not only throw guys at them, but the ability to rotate guys and lock it down in the second half.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. That's not their game plan anyway. Like that their game plan is straight offense. You saw that last night. The Celtics scored 120 points. We just scored only 10 points more than that, but the Nets scored 140 something. Like that the Nets game plan is not defense. That's not what they're doing. They're just using, and I'm not saying that's going to be a good thing against the Sixers, because I think it's going to be a lot harder considering that they don't have the big man like quality to really stop the high percentage look that the Sixers get. So I think ultimately that's going to be their downfall in a series like that. But when it comes to that defense, they're just going to be hitting a lot of threes and making a lot of tough shots at a high percentage. And so realistically, yes, they don't have that defensive stopper like we do, but that's not exactly what they need to win games ultimately.
Yeah, and that's the one area where I don't quite know how to assess this team so far, is because they don't even have to take any tough shots right now, the Sixers.
Well, I would say
amazing shots.
Joel has taken some tough shots, which actually gives me confidence in the sense that he's going to be able to do that in tough situations. Like, he's hitting a lot of tough mid-rangers right now, and coming into the playoffs, we did see a dip in his mid-range scoring a little bit, at least percentage-wise. So it's nice to see him hitting some of those shots. And also, I would argue that Tobias Harris this year has shown a very, very good quality in getting open on post fadeaways a lot more.
Yeah, but I don't think Tobias is taking a lot of tough shots. I think he's taking exactly what the defense is giving. I don't know if you guys, it was late Saturday night, the last question, Joel and I talked about his step back baseline jumper. Did you guys happen to see his answer?
No.
I did not.
I'm gonna play his answer.
All right, while you're looking for that,
I got it right in front.
Okay, I got you.
So I want to touch while you get that ready. I want to touch on this Danny Green comment here. The jury is still out for Ben Simmons in the half court, and that's one of the things I've actually been really impressed with by Doc Rivers, getting him cutting to the basket. Right now, Ben Simmons is 5 of 6 from the field, cut in his cuts. I'm trying to bring the stats here. So 1.67 points per possession. It's only 3 games. The sample size is really short, 83rd percentile. But that's kind of something that we didn't really see from Matisse Thybulle, which he thrived 2 years ago. And that was like kind of my main criticism of Doc. Like, I wanted to see Matisse cutting to the basket more backdoor cuts.
Yeah.
And we've seen that from Ben so far in this series so far. I think that's been a positive.
Something real quick, what you touched on Matisse, like I said this last year. I think Matisse is an underrated slasher. Mind you, it's a straight line. I'm not saying he's going to be a guy who's dribbling up and able to like sidestep and dunk on somebody, but he's definitely a guy, and in my opinion, who's got the vertical. He's got decent hands. Obviously, he's like a magnet with the basketball typically. But I think the more opportunity he gets to go in and cut to the rim, he's going to catch some people. I really do. He's going to catch some people on some posters. I really do.
We have Medini saying, "What's up? Going on?" We have Turkey joining more. This is the most international.
We need to get Serge in here. We need to get Serge in here to pronounce.
Serge and I were at the arena the other night. We were sitting next to each other. So
love that guy.
Let me play this. Let me play this Joel Embiid about shots because I don't know how much publicity this got, but it's. If you want optimism around,
do you have a quote tweet? Do you have a quote tweet of it so I can put up on the screen or no?
I do, but I want to just play the audio because
gotcha.
It goes beyond just a tweet. So I'm going to turn the mic. Let's hope this works. That step back on the right baseline, we're starting to see that more from you. Did someone inspire that? Is that something you've added to your game recently? That's pretty unguardable.
When you go, with my trainer, we always talk about I get double team, every game, every possession is, double, triple teams. That should not take me out of the game. I feel like we feel like I'm too skilled to be taken out of the game. So in those situations, like I said, I can dominate the game even without scoring. But sometimes too, it's nice to see the ball go through the basket. So we always talk about ways we can combat the double team. That's one way to go about it. Drive and the second leg steps up, and we got that quick step back. We got that be using a lot lately, just to get a shot off. So there's many ways. I feel like I haven't. Like there's so much more that I could do, and there's so much more that I have. So many more moves that I can use, but I just haven't because I just gotta get comfortable with it. But that's one of them, man. If they're going double, and I want to get a shot off, that's it.
There's so many more things that I have, so many more things that I could do. The guy, it's a crazy array of offensive weapons he has right now, and he's talking about basically he's got a bunch more in his bag that he's not even showing.
So I did a video. If you didn't see it, I did a Sixers film room of Game 3, and one of those takes was Joel Embiid and his vast array of moves, how he can beat you with power, how he can beat you with footwork, how he can beat you mid-range, three-point range, all over the court. And one of my favorite plays, there was the dunk, you had the spin move, fade away, jump shot over Daniel Gafford. But one of my favorite plays was just Joel Embiid just bullying Daniel Gafford there down in the paint. I think it was in the first quarter. And you have Danny Green saying, Embiid's added Dirk, Harden, KD moves to his game. And that's
Patrick Ewing.
That's kind of been the take of this guy. He has almost like a photographic memory or something along those lines where he picks things up like that. And we've seen that from early in his career to now, where it's almost borderline scary about who this guy is and what his potential is as a big in the NBA moving forward, because everyone, kind of wants to compare him to Hakeem. Everyone wants to compare him to Shaq. And he's kind of like in that middle because he's so skilled. He's so big. And just no one else has really truly an answer for him. But any takes on that, Justin?
I mean, no, not really. And at the moment, sorry, I am in the middle of doing something. So you kind of caught me at a bad time.
All right, let's talk about Game 4. Let's break it down. Jason, what do you expect from today's Game 4?
I expect the Wizards to come out strong, and probably the first half of the first quarter, it looks dicey. But I just get the sense that all the Sixers really have to do is punch them in the mouth, and they'll go down. So where that happens in the game, whether that happens in the second quarter, whether that happens right off the bat, which it did the other night, whether it happens in the third quarter, you just get that feeling of the Sixers have one big run, 14-2 run or something like that, and the Wizards will deflate. So,
awesome. I love this comment by Petronius saying Joel added the MJ fake. That dunk he had there in the third quarter, you 100% nailed it, man. Like he had it was a two-man game there on the perimeter with him and Seth had Bertans go around him. He already had the mismatch, and you saw Joel Embiid do the pass fake just like we've seen from MJ for years, and it just opened up the lane wide open for Joel Embiid for that slam, which I think personally was one of the best dunks of the year. That was just the statement, especially just him and just getting the crowd involved. That was awesome. Philly RB says
it's funny.
What?
No, I was just gonna say it's funny. It's funny you say that. But it's funny you said that about the MJ fake because I noticed the same thing, and I actually put up a video on my Twitter of an example of that. Hold on.
Pretty good defense on Seth Curry.
1 second. I actually put that video up on my Twitter.
So he was walking right towards where we were. That was crazy, right? From my angle, I thought that was a windmill dunk. But that's like he's basically pointing right to where we were sitting.
Look at this, the MJ fake here.
Yeah,
he faked it to the post.
Yeah, 100%. So Petronius nailed it, 100%.
Yep. I saw the exact same thing. I was like, "Yep, that's MJ right there."
Yeah. To this point about Shaq, they would legislate Shaq out of the game right now. The way that they call. There was in game 1, Embiid got in foul trouble on stuff that just flat out would not have been called when Shaq was playing. So,
Wait, we have Tasmania, Clint from Tasmania joining in. What is going on, Tasmania, man? Let's go Sixers, baby. That is freaking awesome, man. But yeah, I mean, the fact that Joel Embiid has more in his back pocket is absolutely ridiculous. Let's go to this comment from Sputnik saying, how much percentage do the Sixers have in winning an NBA championship? Let's go 0 to 100%. 100% meaning it's a lock. Jason, where are you at with that, buddy?
30%, which is super high, even at this stage in the postseason.
What about you, Justin?
Just one more time. You said the percentage.
NBA championship.
Oh, a championship. Ooh. That's. I'm gonna hover around the like 40% range probably, like, and that's high. That's like a very high percentage, but like that's like I genuinely am very confident in this team.
Yeah, I'm probably in that. I'm definitely higher. I'm in that like 40 to 50% range. It's not what you see on the court that I've been most impressed with. It's what I'm seeing between the ears of Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, Danny Green, and the entire coaching staff. What I'm most impressed with is how locked in this team is. Everybody, you know it, Jason. Justin knows it. Like everybody knew that the Wizards are going to try and come out strong and deflate the Sixers here the last two games. And the Sixers have had an answer every single time. And this is kind of what we've seen. This is the pattern we have seen from the Sixers all season long. The Sixers don't lie flat. They don't lie down to anybody. And I think this is just only going to get better. How many times have we seen the Sixers starters win in this season? And we're only going to get more and more of that in the second round. We're only going to get more and more of that in the Eastern Conference Finals if they make it, and the NBA Finals. So, God, I'm going to say 45%. I'm going to say 45%. I am 100% drinking the Kool-Aid, the Doc Rivers Kool-Aid, that this might be the year.
Yeah, I don't think there's a team out west that would beat them in the NBA Finals.
I don't either, but here's my thing. We still have two teams out east that scare the shit out of me, and that is the Nets and the Bucks.
Yeah.
Both those teams, like I would say before Drew Holiday was on the Bucks didn't scare me as much, but with Drew Holiday's defense and with the late game play that he has on offense, that team scares me. And I think that team is a lot scarier than a lot of people give them credit for. I will say they did just lose a guy for the season that was a key man in their rotation in Dante DiVincenzo, who was averaging almost 11 points for them per game, 1.1 steals per game. Also, had very good 3-point shooting. I think he shot around 38% this season, which was a lot better than last year for them. So he has been a big piece for them on the defensive end and the offensive end. So I don't think a lot of people are giving them enough credit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just don't think they match up quite right with the Sixers. I think the Sixers would love to see that matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think it'd be a brawl. I think it'd be a tough series.
I like you talk about. We're getting way ahead of ourselves, but Drew Holiday.
Yeah, we got Jonathan in here saying you better knock on wood, bro.
100%.
Drew Holiday's defensive abilities. Who's he guarding in a Sixers series? And does it matter?
I mean, I think he honestly could do really well in Tobias Harris. Just like he's done well in Tobias in the past.
Tobias would love that. I think Tobias would love that because it'd take him down to the woodshed.
Yeah,
and otherwise, he's either guarding Seth Curry or Danny Green. And he locks them up and takes them off of the board. But, when your best defender plays a position that doesn't align with the other team's best offensive weapon, then it becomes a tricky matchup.
Yeah, but even Brook Lopez and Giannis are both probably going to be guys that are on Joel, and neither of them are slouches on defensive end. Although I will say I think Giannis on ball when it comes to guarding Embiid isn't going to have as great of a time just because it reminds me too much of how Anthony Davis struggles against Embiid on one-on-one matchups. Giannis, it makes his money on defense when it comes to off-ball blocks. So
exactly right. And I mean, that doesn't scare me too much.
I want to get this comment here. Clint says Tasmania is an island off Australia. Ben brought me to the Philadelphia 76ers. Thank you so much for joining, Clint. That is so great. Danny Green says it's funny how no team matches up with the Nets defensively better than the Bucks, and no team matches up better with the Bucks better than the Sixers or a healthy Lakers. So that's what the playoffs are. And that's what the playoffs are. It's a chess match. It's all about mismatches. You're only as good as your weakest defender. And we have another person joining from RS VHS. Hey, bro, thank you for joining. Should we wrap it up? Any final thoughts, Jason, heading into Game 4?
Yeah, let's go back to your early point. Really try to enjoy this. This is special. This is an era of basketball, an era of sports that is uncommon, and enjoy the ride for sure. Enjoy the rough moments just as much because they make the joyful moments even more powerful. And I appreciate everyone that's jumped on.
Yeah, man. Final thoughts, Justin.
Yeah, I think ultimately, tonight's game is going to be a good one. I think it's going to be fun to watch this team get past the first round after getting swept last year in the first round of the playoffs against the Celtics. It's going to be a lot of fun to see the Sixers win tonight. We'll see if Russell Westbrook hits the floor. I don't know if he's been confirmed yet. I know he's probable to hit the floor most likely, but I think either way, tonight's going to be a big W, and we're going to be celebrating going into the second round of the playoffs, most likely going against Atlanta, but we will see.
Final thoughts are we will be doing a post-game show here when the clock hits 0. Be sure to check us out here at the Painted Lines YouTube channel. If you love the Sixers, give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and we will see everybody here during the post-game show, hoping for a sweep. Hold on. Hoping for a sweep.
Let's hit this one last question.
Yeah. Which one? Go ahead.
Which team's fans are the most disrespectful? This is not even close. The Utah Jazz fans are by far the least respectful.
Who was it?
Utah Jazz fans.
Okay, mind you, Jason, have you been to the Utah Jazz's?
Yeah, they're legitimately just low key.
So can you say your credentials here and tell people why you're able to say this then? Because I don't think a lot, like some people who maybe knew, maybe just got on here, may not know why it is that you were at stadiums and stuff like that.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I look, I travel a lot. I'm credentialed media for the team. I was in Game 3 in DC at the arena. Decided not to go tonight. But yeah, there's no question. There are shithead fans in every arena, but the Utah Jazz fans are legitimately the worst. No doubt. No doubt.
Not even like the Celtics or even the Sixers fans.
Celtics and Sixers fans are very similar. And it's easy to beat up on both of them.
Yeah.
But and Boston has its issues for sure. It is a racist city, no question. But Utah, it's baked in. They don't know who you are. They will hit you for things that you had nothing to do with as these players. It is not personal. It's very broadly, thinly veiled racism, period. In Boston, at least, they have a personal grudge against you, and you don't have to feel like it was nothing you could have done. Mostly they have a reason. Now, is there an undercurrent of racism in Boston? For sure, but mostly it's a personal grudge that they might use some really terrible language. In Utah, it's just not.
Here's the thing real quick that I hate about when fans and everything get highlighted so much, and when they create like havoc and at a game, it's like it takes away from just the amazing play that some of these players have. Like, for instance, the other night when popcorn was dropped on Russell Westbrook's head in Philly, like there's no need for that at all, for one. But two, Ben Simmons had an insane game that night after having after not scoring at like how the national media and like what the Philly fan base wanted, comes back and has a huge game, and media that barely talks about it because they're too busy talking about Russell Westbrook getting popcorn on his head, which media is going to go with the story that's more antagonizing. So that makes sense. It's just, it sucks that a good player plays well and doesn't get highlighted because of an event like that.
And none of these players, even the unlikable ones with super punchable faces, deserve any physical confrontation or verbal abuse. Boo,
yeah, for sure.
Just use the word boo, and just
you can even. I'll even say you can say you suck, but that's fine.
Yep,
it's all fun. It's all in fun competition, right? So
yes, sir.
That popcorn incident was embarrassing, man.
Yeah, spitting on a guy. That man Zay says about the guy that spit on Trae Young, like that's, like, come on, that's crazy. These. Think about, okay. Just I want everyone to put themselves into the situation where you are standing on a 5 by 90 piece of hardwood with 20,000 people surrounding you. Just think about that for a second, right? We always talk about free throw shooting, but think about standing naked and alone at the free throw line with 20,000 people
just silent watching you.
just loud, and then consider someone taking that intimidating presence, 20,000 people surrounding you in a small enclosed place, and crossing the line to make it physical contact with you in any way, popcorn, empty water bottle, spit. Think about how violating and wrong it is when you are part of a mob. It is just it's pretty amazing that these guys can perform the way that they perform with just being surrounded by that many people. So look, there is absolutely no excuse for using abusive language or physically having contact with these guys.
And here's the thing with it is like what I equate it to, and where my brain first goes back to is think about it in this way. You're at your profession, you're at work, and you got a random guy who doesn't do your job, who doesn't even know who you are barely, screaming at you, telling you suck at your job, talking about your family, talking about things you can't change about yourself, anything. Like, how would you feel in that situation? I know a lot of people then go to, well, these guys make millions of dollars, they shouldn't care. It's like, no, you should respect people. Simple as that. Respect is the answer.
Period. All right, let's wrap it up. Let's end this show. Guys, we'll be doing a post-game show right when the clock hits 0, reacting, talking about top takeaways, player of the game, team grades. It's going to be a ton of fun. Follow my man Jason on Twitter at JBlevinsNBA. He is Justin. Follow him on Twitter at J_Persichetti. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that great stuff. We will see you in a few hours. Thank you, everybody, for watching.